PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to PACTV Community News. Tonight we are celebrating our 100th episode. PCN has been on the air for 2 years now, and we have proudly served our communities with wonderful stories.
We've been in planes, out on the ocean, next to bees, goats, and cows. It's been quite an experience.
PCN enjoys telling the stories from the residents, businesses, and organizations from Duxbury, Kingston, Pembroke, and Plymouth.
We have another great show for you tonight, and we begin in Pembroke with an update on the school roof projects. The approved Mass School Building Authority roofing project in Pembroke is complete, bringing all the roofs on the Pembroke school buildings to code. PCN follows up on this story to see the results.
All 4 projects are pretty much at completion. We just have one last testing scenario for all of them, the infrared testing, where they come out and take infrared pictures of the roof to see if there's any heat, which if there was heat picked up on the test, it would show that there was moisture stuck in the insulation. But since we've ripped all the roofs down to the deck and started over, the expectation is that all of them will test fine. We're just waiting for 3 days in a row of non-rainy weather. There's 2 separate projects, Project A, which is North Pembroke, and the middle school, and Project B, which is Pembroke High School in Havemock. Back at the beginning of the summer, it was kind of all hands on deck. There was probably 7 to 8 trades working at a time in each building, so it's not just roofing. There was roofing, HVAC, masonry, plumbing, electrical, all going on at the same time. What they did mostly was rip off all of the existing roofing material, which district-wide was mostly the EPDM rubber roofs. At Havemock, we had obviously the challenge of the fully ballasted roof, which has all of the river rocks, which took a significant amount of time to actually vacuum off. All of that happened in the early part of the summer, and then they started replacing the membrane, which looked tedious as I drove up every day, but is finally complete. All of the existing masonry issues were taken care of. All of the HVACs are back up and running. Everything so far so good. This has probably been the project that's been hanging out there for a while. I think my first 2 weeks on the job, there was roof leaks, and we talked about roofs, and that was almost 5 years ago. So as far as major projects, this is about it. We did the ESCO project 2 years back with Schneider Electric, which did some of the interior stuff, some of the building envelope, weatherization kind of stuff. But the roof was that big elephant in the room, and now it's finally taken care of. We can look forward to uninterrupted classes from rain. I think in the past there's been a lot of parent conversations with their kids about it's raining in my classroom, so finally we'll have a year free of that. Hopefully we have a light snow year. Other than that, business as usual in Pembroke.
Gen Silent is the new LGBTQ documentary from award-winning director and documentary filmmaker Stu Maddox that looks into the lives of 6 LGBTQ senior citizens. Gen Silent discovers how oppression now leaves many elders not just afraid, but dangerously isolated. The film puts a face on gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender older people who are so afraid of discrimination by caregivers or bullying by other seniors that many simply go back into the closet. Recently, the Plymouth Council on Aging aired a free screening of the film, and PCN was there.
We're here tonight at the Plymouth Council on Aging because we are showing the Gen Silent film. It is a educational documentary about our aging LGBT population and the struggles, their unique struggles that they go through every single day as they age.
And I just want to introduce our hospice team. If everyone from Beacon Hospice could stand, I'll turn around, wave at everybody.
My role as the bereavement coordinator for Beacon Hospice is really to provide grief support for the community as part of the hospice benefit.
Telling our stories is not an end in itself.
And over the last few months, we've just been really thinking about how can we expand that message into the community so that everyone from the LGBTQ community knows that, that we stand for the inclusion and we respect the human dignity of every person.
It's a documentary. It's actually what I would consider an educational documentary, and it is about 4 different couples that gay couples. They are actually 3 couples are gentleman couples, gay couples, and one of them is a transgender male, non-surgical transgender male, and it's talking a little bit about the struggles that they're having at their end of life, and that, you know, early on in their lives, most of them, well, 3 of the couples actually were able to come out and they were accepted in the communities, in their gay communities, but they're finding now as they're aging that they're finding it very difficult to find loved ones or long-term care facilities that accept them for who they are. So they're very frightened, and they're going through that struggle, and they're talking to us about that struggle.
So tonight we just invited anybody to come here from the LGBTQ community, but we also reached out to a lot of healthcare agencies. We reached out to other hospices. We've reached out to clergy and social workers, and anyone who works in any capacity in the healthcare field.
We've chosen the Plymouth Council on Aging because it's not just so much for the population of the LGBT population, but it's the elder population and the struggles that they go through at end of life.
Tonight we're really hoping that through listening to the stories of the people who are chronicled in the film, that will really enable people to be able to tell their own stories and really find power in that, the power to really change the world and change our culture.
Every Tuesday morning, members of an elite group of hook-wielding women get together to practice their craft. They're known as the Duxbury Rug Hookers, and on the first Tuesday of the month, they meet at the Alden House Barn. I was lucky enough to sit in on one of their sessions. On the first Tuesday of every month at mid-morning, the Duxbury Rug Hookers meet up at the Alden House Barn. The other Tuesdays of the month, the group meets at private homes with only select company invited, but the first meeting of the month here at the Alden Barn is open to the public.
This first of the month group is a little different than what we do the rest of the month. We have people from all over come in. Some people we just see once a month, and they come in to hook, show what they've been working on. Sometimes they'll bring their knitting, depends on the mood they're in.
Every year for the past 15 years, the group makes a rug to donate to the Alden Kindred of America, which gets auctioned off at their annual reunion every August. Each member of the rug hooking group gets to take the rug home for a week to add her own personal touch to it.
This was my week to work on the group rug. We always have a local theme, whether it's the Alden House or the ocean or Standish Monument, and this year it's local fish. And so Eloise Doyle has designed the rug, and we each take a few weeks and work on the rug, and this is what I did this week.
All I did was draw it out, and then everybody does it in their own way. Yeah. Yeah. And for some reason it all goes together.
Of course, rug hooking is time and labor intensive, and to be cost effective, many of the women use recycled material.
A rug, a 2x3 rug, usually if you work a few hours every day on it, is about 3 months, I've calculated, for myself. I think I did a friend's rug. I think it was 72 hours, I think, for like a 2x3 that I put into it, hooking. So it's a lot of time. The materials are expensive if you're not using recycled goods.
The group is also a great way to bring some different worlds together.
It brings people together that we probably normally wouldn't meet in our everyday life. I've been with this group since 2000, and it's like a family. Even though we should have.
All this camaraderie had me convinced that even I could give this rug hooking a shot.
You're doing it wrong.
Doing some hooking with my ladies here in Duxbury. I'm Brian Sullivan reporting for PACTV Community News.
Thanks to the help from a concerned parent, the playground at the Kingston Intermediate School has received a substantial upgrade over the past few months. PCN stopped in over the summer before construction began and returned recently to meet with the school's vice principal to talk about the significant changes that have taken place.
Over the summer, we started to have the construction done on the playground. They first dug the drainage swale that's out there to help. You know, it's been very rainy lately, and it's good to see the rain hasn't been collecting. So the drainage swale has been working. It was dug up by the town. What they did is they put crushed stone where the drainage swale would be. Over the crushed stone, they put mulch, and the mulch kind of covers it up, makes sure that it's safe for the kids, and also helps with the drainage overall as well. That was the first step. After that, we got word that the playground equipment would be coming. The playground equipment arrived. We had a new bank of swings, one of them being handicapped accessible that we end up using for the kids. We had a climbing structure that was put in that the kids really enjoy using. You know, there's always a line waiting to get on there. And there's a merry-go-round that's also handicapped accessible. And the kids always align for that as well. So along with the playground structures and the drainage swale, what came along with that is mulching that goes underneath all of the structures to provide safety for the kids. Because if they fall off or they're running and they trip and fall, they need that area. The mulch is right around where the play structures are, so it wasn't just kind of thrown out all over the place. And it does provide that extra level of safety so the kids aren't, you know, if they're on the climbing structure, they're not falling onto, you know, hard dirt. They're falling into kind of a softer area for them. So after the playground was completed, the next step moving forward will be the handicapped accessible ramp that will be coming up next to the school over by the cafeteria. That will be implemented later this fall. For the kids and for the community, it's nice to have this new playground. It's something to be proud of, and it's something that you know, the kids in school and out of school can use it. And it wouldn't have been possible without the Community Preservation Committee and Mary McKinnon, who was the parent that really got everything going here. So we give a lot of thanks to those people because they've given us something very nice and something very positive for the school and the community.
A trio of jazz musicians hailing from Duxbury, Kingston, and Pembroke recently performed at the Jazz Rock and Pop Festival at the South Shore Conservatory. The bassist and the percussionist are each music teachers at the conservatory. The piano player and the bassist each went to high school together. Yet before the festival, the three men had never played together on the same stage. Luckily, I was there to take it all in. The final weekend of summer was a real treat for music lovers at the South Shore Conservatory. Not only was there a wide array of musicians for the three-day Jazz Rock Pop Festival, but the weather was sublime. The amphitheater itself is actually tucked away inside a neighborhood in Hingham, but everybody that found their way here saw a great show over the weekend. The Saturday afternoon portion of the festival featured a jazz trio whose members hailed from Kingston, Duxbury, and Pembroke. For percussionist Ed Sorrentino, the surroundings of the amphitheater are pretty familiar.
I've been here for about 35 years, and I just love it here. It gives me some flexibility with my teaching and performing versus having a public school, position where you're locked into a situation from 8 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. So I have a lot of flexibility.
As for the performance itself, that was unscripted.
We didn't rehearse. There were no rehearsals involved. It was pretty much a, whatever John, who was the master here, felt was the way to go with it. And he would also often give some visuals for us and some piano cues or some musical cues for us to work off of, and pretty much left us on our own. It was a real awesome experience.
Well, it's like having a conversation, kind of an intense conversation at a high level. You're talking about the things you know about and the things that are happening in the day, and listening carefully to what each other is saying and responding or adding new topics to the conversation, or just enjoying the music, playing along.
Bassist Chris Rathburn also teaches at the conservatory and has been for the better part of the past 15 years.
I teach bass, I teach Suzuki cello and Suzuki bass, and I also end up having guitar students and bass guitar students and ensembles, a lot of different things, a lot of variety, a lot of fun.
Chris is also the connection between both other players, as the three men have never before shared the same stage prior to this show. Piano player John Jarvis explains his approach to the freewheeling performance.
Just a free improv.
Who are these guys?
It's sometimes I wonder about, bass and drums, throwing them curves, I feel like I ought to accommodate more so we know what's more predictable. But it seems to work out. We start with anarchy, but if the ears are working, we find a place.
Today was kind of what I expected it to be, a memorable event, playing real music, the music that expresses who I am and who we are as musicians.
Reporting from the Jane Cheever Carr Amphitheater in Hingham, I'm Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
In 2014, the town of Plymouth opened up new areas for shellfishing that had been closed to the public for 40 years. PCN met up with the town's harbor master and an environmental technician to find out what changes occurred environmentally to make this possible and to hear what effect this will have for the shellfishing community.
New in 2014, the town of Plymouth has been able to open up new shellfish area, an area that's actually been closed for close to 30-40 years, the inside of Plymouth Beach. Part of this opening is the establishment of the town's recreational shellfishing. To add to the areas that we have now, most of them are very inaccessible, accessible by boat only. We're hoping that this really makes the shellfishing areas more accessible and also allows us to take a better management approach to recreational shellfishing. This includes not only the existing stock that is there because it's been closed for close to 30-40 years. There's a substantial amount of soft shell and quahogs already in place on these flats, but we're looking to augment that with a seeding process as well. So we would be able to seed and keep these areas vitalized.
Many of the shellfish areas in Plymouth have been closed for 30 to 40 years because of problems with water quality. The town of Plymouth has been working hard to improve water quality in the harbor. We've completed a lot of projects like having a pump-out boat, which reduces the sewage from boats going into the harbor. We have a no discharge zone that was established. That the aim is the same as the pump-out boat. We've done a lot of stormwater projects that reduce runoff from the land that can bring bacteria, chemicals, different pollutants into the water.
So part of the shellfish program involves seeding, and this is raising from seed, either soft shell, quahogs. Probably the most popular right now is oysters. Aquaculture has really been driven by the oyster industry and the demand for oysters. So we can not only do all sorts of different species that may or may not exist, like oysters. There's no set or oyster seed that'll sort of naturally end up in these flats, but we're able to take seed and really grow it out in these areas and make oysters available to people that wouldn't naturally be available. The other part of that is soft shell and quahog. Again, able to raise it from seed. We want it to get to a certain size, and there's some protective measures that we would take when we do put the seed out on the flats to basically protect it from predation, so birds and green crabs. Netting that will lay over the top until they're big enough. Usually about 25 millimeter is safe to really remove the nets and they're able to survive. But really it's to keep the areas dense, densely populated.
Anyone interested in shellfishing should contact the Department of Marine and Environmental Affairs for more information. We have recreational shellfish permits that are required for shellfishing.
The Pine Hills is boasting a new inn and spa where people can get away for a few hours to relax, de-stress, and eat some fantastic French cuisine. PCN recently took a tour both inside and outside of the Mirabeau Inn and Spa to learn more about this new addition to our community.
The inn was intentionally designed to replicate a French manor house, something you would find outside of Paris, France. The Mirabeau Inn Spa has been in the works for 5 years, and we're thrilled to have it finally open. This is our guest reception area. Our design intent would be very residential. The living room of the inn is a fantastic gathering place for the community and for our guests to relax. The bistro area is where we serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Well, the program's based on, that program we put together here is based on what regional is and what classical French cuisine and inspired properties are. You know, part of the program is we go out to the docks, you know, up and down the South Shore and get from the local fishermen. We're working on local backyard farms, even people coming up to us dropping extra stuff off and see what we can do with it because they don't want it to go on a waste and they know we can, you know, that's what we do here, especially in Honorary Marie. That's our go-to. We have a chef's tasting menu, and it's to give back to the community and to show what we do and how we do it every day. You know, where everybody in this community is involved in the restaurant as well as the property. You know, and you can see it. The flowers are locally sourced. We have people planting fig trees on extra fig trees because they know we'll care for them. A resident the other day gave us lavender because they know we could do something with it. You know, we planted that. We're working on grapevines because there's a winery on property. So, you know, we're having fun with this. You know, pushing to the limits.
Outside on the porch of the bistro in the living room, you can see our wonderful water ponds and gardens. They were designed to replicate what you would find in Giverny, France, including Monet's Bridge. The Mirabeau is intended to be a community resource. In everyone's very hectic and busy lives, we all are recognizing the importance of finding time for ourselves, of getting away, and just decompressing. And the Mirabeau Inn Spa is designed to provide that facility for you. As you make your way into the inn over our covered bridge, you'll take the stairway down to our spa. Our guests come from probably a 60-mile radius, and they're guests that recognize the importance of fitness and relaxation and decompression and the benefits of massage.
This is our resting area where our guests come and relax before they go in for a treatment. And it's a one-of-a-kind facility in this area where they're able to come in and detox by their foot soaks, by sitting by the foot soak and letting themselves relax and enjoy the calming music and lighting before they go in for their special treatments. As the director at Spa Mirabeau in Pine Hills, people from all over come here to relax and decompress from their busy lives. We're here for a bit more balancing life, whether you're in the resting area, you're out in the aqua terrace enjoying the beautiful weather, or just pampering yourself with treatments.
For the past 2 years, PCN has produced 100 episodes and over 500 stories and specials about the people, places, and things that happen in our communities. We are proud to bring you news that otherwise you probably would not see. Enjoy this brief compilation of some clips from our first 100 episodes.
Thanks for watching this week's show. Replay times are listed on our website, PACTV.org, or you can catch us on YouTube by searching for the PACTV Community News Channel.
Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to receive previews and links to all our stories.
A new episode of PCN In Depth will air Thursday night, October 17th, looking into the current drug epidemic facing our region. This is a new monthly program from PACTV Community News that will take a closer look into a specific topic each month and will include dynamic guests and videos.
Thanks again for being part of our 100 episodes, and we'll see you next week for more PACTV Community News.